WXOS HD1 East St. Louis. 101 ESPN is driven by Auto Centers Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty and 30-day return.
Yes. I didn't have the headphones in, and I don't know if I hit it. I don't know if I didn't. Don't you tell me I didn't do something good.
Okay.
Didn't do something well? Didn't do something good. Didn't do something well, nurse?
You did it well, Tim.
Oh, now you're lying to me. You're pissed that I don't have the beard anymore. My wife's pissed at you for wanting me to grow the beard back. Everything's falling apart here. Everything's falling apart. That's what's going on. Blues lost yesterday. Desiree Reed-Francois is leaving for 20% less money to go to the Big 12. You want to talk about the NBA All-Star Game 48 hours later. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Anyway, Jackson, you have Tuesday turbulence. You will save the day.
I'll try. Yeah, ever since we got off the air yesterday, things went real sideways.
They did. Jackson and I were shutting it down. Hard out, 10:56 for the Blues and Leafs pregame at 11 o'clock. And Jackson says to me, "Do you see Pete Thamel's tweet?" And all that tells me is Jackson's not listening to the words I'm saying, because I'm like, no, brah, I was hosting a show entertaining millions and millions in St. Louis. And that's when I found out Desiree Reed-Francois was leaving for 20% less money and leaving an SEC school. But maybe because of an oversight committee, to go to a school with an oversight committee.
More on that coming up in Tuesday Turbulence.
Oh, my goodness. See, you are going to save the show today.
I'll try.
You are going to save the show today.
Yeah.
Maybe my beard is my cape.
That could be the case. Yeah. Also, following yesterday's balloon party, the Blues lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I was in attendance. And
yes, you were.
I took my boys and my wife.
So that leads me into my first question on this here Tuesday
You're
Turbulence.
kind of running point today, I noticed.
I'm just kind of, there's a lot going on that side of the desk. You're getting things settled in.
I can't find an outlet to plug in my computer, which it sounds like it is. It sounds like we're Cape Canaveral when my computer gets going now. I took it into this Mac store, and they were going to need it for like 4 days.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a bad beat.
I know. So I'm like, okay, I got to delete all the Brazzers files.
Right. Well,
and take it back.
We call that due diligence.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So anyway, the thing sounds like it's about to take off to orbit the Earth. So you might hear that over there. Oh, it's hotter than the fires of hell. The bottom of this laptop is hotter than the fires of hell. Jackson, so you're right. I'm not on my game. You will save this show with Tuesday Turbulence. Ladies and gentlemen, Jackson Bennett Burkett on 101 ESPN. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm letting Tim settle in so he can buckle his seatbelt, get that oxygen mask ready, because we're about to shake up the plane. Blues lose yesterday in a matinee affair with the Toronto Maple Leafs, dropping back-to-back games after a run of success. First, how did your 2-year-old enjoy the game? And second, do the last 2 games against proper competition concern you, especially for their chances of making somewhat of a real run? Money puck has the Blues' chances of making the playoffs at 19%.
No way. Is that right?
That's a 10% decrease from Thursday of last week. They're 29% to make it.
I'm surprised they were only 29%. Now, as you know, for whatever reason, I don't know how this happened, but over the last couple of years, I want to make this clear. Not caring if you don't like my opinion does not mean I don't care. Now, I know that was like a triple negative. Mm-hmm. I care about the shows I do. I want to make that clear. TMA, Balloon Party, the Tim McKernan Show podcast. But I don't care if what I say upsets people. That isn't like, hey, I'm tough. I'm not. I'm like a tiny little boy is what I am.
That doesn't mean you're purposely trying to upset people.
I'm just like, I'm fortunately at peace with just going, okay, you might not like it, but here's what I think. My North Star is giving you my honest opinion, of which I may be giving you one that might wind up being incorrect. But at the very least, I'm saying what I think.
Right.
And so a couple of weeks ago, you posed the question, did I think the Blues were going to make the playoffs? And my honest answer is no. That was 2 weeks ago. That's truly my honest answer. It's not what I want to happen. And so what has taken place in the last 2 games is pretty disappointing. But I will tell you that I'm very surprised to hear that the odds were 29% and now 19%. That surprises me. That just mathematically, it surprises me. Specific to your questions here on your Jackson Burkett Tuesday turbulence, taking a 2-year-old to a game, and he just turned 2 3 weeks ago. I kind of felt like he'd be good. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody knows their children. No one, especially once you have more than one, then you can kind of compare and contrast and know what you might have on your hands. It's like being a coach with a roster. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, I think this guy's going to be good.
Right.
But when that first horn sounded, I go, oh boy, and I happened to capture it on my phone. But since I have essentially retired from social media, minus the LSU mom at the White House gif and retweeting whatever it is that you tweet, I did not post it, but he didn't phase him, and he just clapped the whole time.
That's awesome.
He just clapped. It was like he was at the State of the Union. The guy just clapped the entire time.
Better than me.
So as far as the experience, it was a great day with my family, my wife, and my 6-year-old and my 2-year-old. We'll always remember it. Loved it. I think he loved it, and I'm sure we'll be back for much more. With that said, I was observing the Leafs on the power play, and I was just following number 34. You know number 34 on the Maple Leafs is?
Austin Matthews. But he spells it weird.
Oh, you're about to go after Austin Matthews?
I'm not going to go after him, but weird is the wrong word. He spells it differently.
That's right. Be curious, not judgmental.
I wore that hoodie yesterday.
And I noticed that he was just hanging out with no one around him on the power play right in front of Joel Hofer. I thought, oh, this probably is not going to end well if you enjoy the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
And about a second and a half later, he had deposited the puck into the net. And I thought, well, that's what Austin Matthews is going to do if he is allowed to just kind of lurk in front of the net on a power play. And alas, that's exactly what he did. So you combine that with Saturday. I think yesterday would have been more tolerable if Saturday the performance was better, but you combine the performance Saturday with the defensive lapses yesterday. Kyrou and the high stick 4 seconds into the second period wasn't exactly lovely. It was really disappointing. I mean, there's just no way to it was a very slow start to the game. I think both teams had 8 shots in the first period.
First period was pretty dead.
Yeah. And you might have that with a matinee. So then my logic was maybe I should have been sitting there ruining this experience because you never have another first game with your children by betting on it.
I was gonna go
and
there.
Betting the under,
yeah.
Although I don't know if the under would have hit because it wound up going 4-2.
Yeah.
And I would guess the over-under was either 5.5 or 6.5.
Yeah.
Because these matinee President's Day games will be low scoring, and then I'm hanging out with somebody later in the day, I don't remember who, and they go, "Did you see the Leafs?" Not the Leafs, the Canucks and Wild. Did you see that? I know I'm asking the wrong.
Of course I saw it, but I don't want to rob the listeners of knowing the final score or what happened in the game.
I'm all in.
The Canucks, the Vancouver Canucks, and the
This
Minnesota.
is what we call
Wild.
a delayed tactic in the industry.
That was a hell of a game.
And what stood out to you about it?
The forecheck.
Final score was 10-7.
Oh, Lord.
Right. That sounds like it surprised you for somebody who was paying such close attention to the forecheck.
It sounds like an Iowa football game.
That's a high-scoring Hawkeyes game. So I go, I guess maybe that read on the boys maybe taking it. That's the thing about hockey players. They don't take it easy.
Yeah.
Thursday Cardinal game with the Marlins. It's probably going to be about an hour and 10 minutes and 1-0. And everybody just kind of winks and nods and go, hey, we got to go to Miami.
I was about to say,
You'll understand.
Especially if you're heading back to Pittsburgh or something.
So, disappointing, Jackson. And, but I have to, I might have broken the news to you that there was a 10-7 hockey game, even though you were right on with the forecheck.
Right.
The news that was broken here is that, what's the name of that site again?
Money Puck.
Money Puck, yeah. 19% for the Blues in the playoffs.
Yeah.
God, if you're giving me 5-1, I'm taking the Blues in the playoffs all day long, even though I don't think they will get them in the playoffs. I would take 5-1.
Yeah, I kept spitting those numbers out to Doug last week when you were out on TMA, and he was always so shocked. He's like, 29%. Like, they're better than that. And now they've dropped 10%. I think it was right after the Edmonton game. They were like 29.2% after a big win against a great team.
Right.
And then they dropped to Nashville and now Toronto and dropped 10%. I guess like right now, if the season ended, they wouldn't be in the playoffs, and last week they would have been. But either way,
yeah, that's more about a futures play. And I mean, I don't know if Doug Armstrong's comments had anything to do with that, which I, by the way, completely agree with. I wouldn't be buying if I'm him. Whereas last year was kind of mid-January that would be the defining moment for this season, and then the Blues unloaded Tarasenko, O'Reilly, and Barbashev. In this case, you are about to see it. You have one more home game before they go out on the road for, I think it's 8 of 9 or 7 of 8, and they're going to be playing some quality teams as well. So here we go, and it happens to correlate with the trade deadline. So this is it, and I want playoff hockey. I know the vast majority of you want playoff hockey too. Probably don't want it necessarily at the expense of trading away prospects to get a chance to be a 7 or 8 seed. But with that said, it's just the weather warming up. Although now I guess the weather warms up in February, and I'm A-okay with it.
Right.
But the weather warming up, thunderstorm on the horizon, and Blues playoff hockey underway, and the Masters all correlating with the Cardinals starting their season. That's my happy place.
Yeah, it's a good time to be alive.
And sundresses.
Good time
That's what I need. So I would love to have it, but my expectation is that we will not have it, and I'm at peace with it. But I certainly would love to see it happen Saturday, and these 2-day games. Yeah, because it's one thing when you lose. It's another thing when it's the manner with which they lost. Your thoughts are welcome. 314-399-9646, Air Comfort Service text line. Studio cameras for the YouTube channel presented to you by the Air Alliance team. It's 101 ESPN on YouTube. Go on in there. That YouTube chat is active as always. Jackson has part 2, which is focused on Desiree Reed-Francois exiting Missouri. We will get into that on the other side of the break. This is Balloon Party on 101 ESPN.
Blues hockey can be heard exclusively on 101 ESPN. Get the info you need before and after every Blues game with the First Community pre- and post-game show driven by Clement Ford. And catch every Blues home game from the First Community Terrace. Bring out the Zamboni!
Bet like the pros with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Circus Sports is now available in Illinois. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I've been a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. We're excited that the Circus Sports app is now ready for action. Experience big app bets with high betting limits, tight money line splits, and more. Now you can download, fund, and bet like a pro from anywhere in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, the place I go to get my cars, the place I would love for you to go to get your cars as well. They are online at stlouisacura.com and altontoyota.com. It's Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota.
Strap yourself in. This is the Balloon Party with Tim McKernan and Action Jackson on 101 ESPN.
Driven by Munganast and Burkhardt, Alton Toyota.
Welcome back to the program. It's called Balloon Party, and it airs on 101 ESPN and the 101 ESPN YouTube channel. T. McKernan at InsideSTL.com is where you can send your questions, comments, or whatever you please. As Jackson and I will be doing the Tim McKernan Show podcast at approximately, Jackson, 11:20?
Yep.
On the youtube.com TMA STL channel, the youtube.com/TMA STL. So come on in, the water is warm. That's sports, but it can be whatever you please. Right now, here on 101 ESPN, we're in the midst of Jackson's Tuesday turbulence. It's time for his second question/observation. Jackson Bennett Burkett.
Yeah. Desiree Reed-Francois is leaving Columbia, Missouri for Tucson, Arizona, in a shocking move yesterday that leaves a vacancy in the AD office in a time where Mizzou is in as good a place as it's been in recent years. What do you make of this news? Do you think that there is some internal conflict between DRF and the Board of Curators?
Question number one, what do I make of the news? I was stunned by it. I want to state some things that are facts that I realize many people who are either not Missouri fans or just casual observers of this story may not be aware of. She was making $1.25 million at Missouri. She will be making $1 million at Arizona. That is a 20% reduction in pay. Now, I don't know. We talked a little bit about that on TMA, and I think it was Doug Vaughn said, once you make $1 million, it's kind of like you don't really care. But if you care because it's $1 million, but I'm telling you, if you're making 1.25 and you're dropping down to 1, that's material. Yeah. That's material, especially when you're choosing to do it. Right. That counts. So you have that. That's number one. Number two, the fact is she had a program that was in the SEC that she's leaving. And right now in college athletics, and maybe this won't be the case in 5 years. Hell, maybe these conferences won't even exist in 5 years. If you are in the SEC or Big Ten, you are in one of the desirable jobs. That's not a shot at like a Kansas or something like that. I don't really care. I'm just telling you that's the way that college athletics is at the moment. You want to be in the SEC or Big Ten. She left the SEC/Big Ten, the SEC leaving Missouri and going to what is now a Big 12 school in Arizona. That is strange. So you have a choice of a pay cut of 20%. You are leaving the SEC, and you are inheriting two hires in the two sports that, when it gets down to it, really matter.
Right, the for-profit sports.
The college football coach at Arizona is brand new because the college football coach who made Arizona perhaps the second most surprising or maybe most surprising team of 2023. I think it's either Missouri or Arizona for 1 and 2, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jed Fish left to replace Kalen DeBoer when he replaced Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa. So you have a new coach that you didn't hire, just like she didn't hire Eli Drinkwitz, and a basketball coach who just got an extension on the same day that she got the job in Arizona, who goes through 2029 now.
Yep.
So you have those things. These are all facts. And then you also have an athletic department that financially has substantial issues. Jackson, what's the number there?
They are a $177 million deficit.
All facts. Now, what takes place going forward on this conversation becomes opinion and speculation, and that's why I want to separate the two and attempt to compartmentalize. For the life of me, I don't know what is going on, but there's no way to look at what I just stated as 4 facts. Those are not dispute. I suppose you can say, well, you don't want to be in the SEC or Big Ten. That I guess you could say is opinion. The other 3 would be facts, and I'd like to think most people would agree at this moment. Again, it's not non-SEC, non-Big Ten. It's just kind of that's where the money is. That's where the stability is. Why someone would choose to leave. So Gabe DeArmond, who I wanted to get on the show today, but the Colonel's not available today. He's available tomorrow. Gabe and I were texting, and Gabe wrote, and also did a YouTube show yesterday about this situation, that on February 8th, so not very long ago, 12 days ago, Missouri announced this oversight committee that would be handling a lot of the responsibilities that would also fall under the job responsibilities of the athletic director. And it is Gabe's theory that the combination of this committee, along with the extension given to Eli Drinkwitz, not the most recent one, but the one that was given in November of 2022, when he was an under 500 coach, was not something Desiree Reed-Francois was on board with. The Board of Curators did that. The Board of Curators hired Eli Drinkwitz. Desiree Reed-Francois did not. Desiree Reed-Francois was not the athletic director when he was hired. Jim Sturk was. And Jim Sturk brought to the Board of Curators 3 finalists for the Missouri head coaching job. Those names were Blake Anderson, who was the head coach at Arkansas State, is no longer there, Skip Holtz, and Sonny Dykes, who has had success in Fort Worth at TCU. Although did not have success this year, he did have his team in the college football playoff championship game against Georgia. And so that was not her guy, but the Board of Curators, in Gabe's reporting, felt some kind of equity because they had found the guy. And when they told Jim Sturk, these 3 finalists aren't going to cut it, you go back out and find somebody else. And he tells the story of a curator, a member of that board, going to Appalachian State and meeting with Drinkwitz. And the next day, Drinkwitz was the Missouri head coach. So why do I include all of this backstory? The theory being that the Board of Curators and Desiree Reed-Francois not on the same page. She's getting frustrated by it. She wants to leave. Or, if you really wanted to take a leap, you could say she was being told, hey, as great as things may seem they are on the outside, you may not be long for this spot, and this may be a chance to get out because you do not want to have it on your resume, especially relatively early in your career as an athletic director. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like she's brand new, but still, she's a young woman in terms of athletic directors and ages go, and you don't want to have the firing scarlet letter.
Right.
So you can have the reset of your timeline, so to speak, and going to Arizona. And you go, well, it's this oversight committee. Well, guess what Arizona has? An oversight committee. So the whole thing I've seen a lot of athletic directors come and go. I mean, when I was in school at Missouri, it was Joe Castiglione, who is still in Norman, Oklahoma after leaving Columbia, which is, you're right, it's crazy. So I saw Joe Castiglione. I saw Mike Alden. We've seen, I feel like I might be leaving somebody out. Mac Rhodes, Jim Sturk, Desiree Reed-Francois. I believe I've covered them all over the last 30 years. And honestly, and I've been doing this for 25 years, an athletic director at most schools, including Illinois and Missouri and St. Louis University, it's really not something that, you might talk about it a little. You might not talk about it at all. But because of the circumstances and because for the first time ever, I think the public, which is great as a Missouri fan, is interested in Missouri football beyond people who went to school there. Yep. And there is a real buzz that Missouri could be in the college football playoff. Again, obviously part of that is the fact that there will be 12 teams. I think if you only got 2 or 4 in, I don't know if people would really be thinking how likely that is for Missouri next year, but it certainly would be possible. But with 12, there's almost a sense of an expectation for it this year, which I love, but it also can cut both ways, that if you have a 9-win season that normally would be great, it may be disappointing depending on how it all plays out. So with that said, if you have a college football playoff potential program in a school, in a fan base that is not used to that at all, you would think, well, then you're in a great spot. So then why would you ruin that momentum, whether it be this newfound committee or Desiree Reed-Francois, and break it up? And that, to me, is why this story is getting a hell of a lot more attention than what a normal move for an athletic director would be. So, with that said, Jackson, I know you are a big Missouri fan and observer of this situation. What is your opinion?
Yeah, some other facts are also, Arizona is not only they're in the Big 12, but this is going to be their first year in the Big 12. This is a major moment where you're moving conferences, conference realignment. You're all over the place. The SEC and the Big 10 are solidified. All is good. People are making money, real money. You're shifting conferences. That's crazy. Second of all, Missouri just secured $62 million donation, 12 of which are going to the NIL fund, which is massive. I mean, that for an AD, that's music to your ears to get that kind of donation. That's what you work for, to get stuff like that. And so that happened about 2 weeks ago, and now for this to happen, it just makes it even stranger. Now, she did go to Arizona for law school. That is something that is noteworthy. However, being in the SEC, like if you're looking at your career, given what we know, because there's a lot that we probably don't know, but given what we know, it would seem like you're doing outstanding work at Mizzou and appearing to be things are only going to get better, not to mention the NIL laws in Missouri are about as favorable for a school as any other state.
It's that there's that as well. So I don't know if we will ever find out the real story. In other words, I don't know if Desiree Reed-Francois is she's starting a new job, has any reason to start, and I don't know if she would do an interview per se, but start telling her side of the story through quote-unquote sources, or if members of the Board of Curators will tell their side of the story. But either way, considering what the mindset was of the vast majority of Missouri fans following the win over Ohio State, and even those who aren't Missouri fans and who may have reluctantly gone, oh boy, they got it going in Missouri, for what has taken place over the last 5 weeks with Blake Baker and now Desiree Reed-Francois, that momentum that you felt, and even with the basketball team is an absolute dumpster fire, those who are paying close attention to that know that Dennis Gates has a ridiculously highly touted recruiting class coming in. That how would you go from feeling about as good as perhaps you felt about Missouri athletics to a change, not just with Blake Baker going, but the person who is at the top, at least what you think is the top, the athletic director, leaving. And again, leaving for a lesser job.
Right.
If she was leaving to go to her undergrad alma mater, UCLA.
Yeah, that would be, and she's from California.
And it's a Big Ten school now.
Yeah, that's a different story.
But this is not that.
No.
And also, if you're keeping an eye on that situation, the UCLA AD may be out soon.
Yeah.
So
McKernan.
So if you're going, well, she just wanted a new challenge and she had all the time in the world, then why not wait for that possibility?
Right.
So
yeah,
that's why I wanted to make sure. I just went, okay, here's a fact, here's a fact, here's a fact, here's a fact, because everything else is going to be speculative. But I haven't seen an athletic director move get this much attention in my time doing television and radio. This one is absolutely getting a hell of a lot of attention, and it's not just local. It is in this community around the country going, what in the world? Ben Fredrickson had a quote in his column, and I don't have it pulled up right now. He goes, you show me somebody who leaves the SEC or Big Ten, that's one thing. You show me who leaves the SEC or Big Ten to take a pay cut, and you might be looking at a club that has one member.
Right.
That is how surprising this move was. That's from Ben Fredrickson. I believe he was quoting Football Scoops, I think was the name of the site, yesterday with their observation on what has gone on. Your thoughts are welcome. 314-399-9646. You, of course, can participate in the chat in the 101 ESPN YouTube channel chat room. This is Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota on 101 ESPN.
We've got your chance to win a pair of passes to the 2024 State Farm Missouri Valley Conference Men's Basketball Tournament, hitting the court at Enterprise Center March 7th through March 10th. March begins here with the Arch Madness of the annual MVC Tournament, celebrating 30 years at Enterprise Center. All session and single session tickets are on sale now. Get all the details and get entered to win those free tickets for Arch Madness right now, either at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
What's something you use every day during the winter but you never see? Your furnace. Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation is celebrating 55 years of keeping St. Louisans in their comfort zone with a $55 anniversary special. For a limited time, save $55 off any service repair. With 55 years of award-winning, 5-star service, you can trust that your heating system will be serviced properly. Get in your comfort zone and save $55 off any service repair from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Exclusions apply. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
I'm Dr. TJ from the Institute of Natural Health. I'm inviting you to check out our show, Wellness 101, every Sunday at 7 a.m. right here on ESPN. On Wellness 101, we talk about how to optimize your health as well as all things health-related. We discuss how to take control of your health by being your own health advocate, and we offer practical tips for you to become the healthiest you possible. On Wellness 101, we cover topics like optimizing hormones, thyroid health, gut function, cardiovascular health, sexual health and performance, and many more. So join Aaron and me every Sunday for Wellness 101 at 7 a.m. on ESPN.
Sponsored by Amarin.
ESPN Sports Center.
This is Action Jackson with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues lose yesterday. Final score of 4-2 to the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Blues will play again on Thursday as they take on the New York Islanders. Pre-game at 6 p.m. Puck drop at 7 p.m. And yesterday, UConn coach Gino Auriemma broke a tie with Mike Krzyzewski for second most wins by a head coach in Division I men or women's college basketball on Monday as his team took down number 21 Creighton with a 73-53 victory. That was another Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Welcome back, Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you on the program. We welcome you to participate by texting in the Air Comfort Service text line and by chatting in the YouTube chat. Very active in that YouTube chat, Jackson.
Is that right?
Yeah, 124 people are in there. I see, is it Preston S1?
Oh,
Eric
Preston.
Nickens, Tiny PP, Kyle R. Do you pronounce it John Scores?
Yeah.
I like John Scores.
I like the
and,
name
of course,
Preston.
Tiny PP.
I like the name Preston.
Preston Wilson, 2006 Cardinals.
Number 3.
And then in the getting a lot of texts in the Air Comfort Service text line, and somebody was saying that it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out why you would rather make $1 million and live in Scottsdale, Arizona, or $1.2 million and live in Columbia, Missouri. Not only that, it's going to look real great on her resume that she turned Missouri around in her tenure, then go to Arizona, school that's in financial trouble, and turn it around. She's going to be looking as a financial genius. I suppose that could be the case. University of Arizona is not in Scottsdale. It's about 2 hours south of there, I believe. But other than that, yeah, I suppose that could be the case. I mean, yeah, listen, Doug Vaughn said this also on TMA earlier today. He took a 20% pay cut when he was working in Miami doing local television to come back and live in St. Louis. So he goes, you would much rather make less and live in a place that you want to live in than make more and live in a place that you wouldn't want to live in. So maybe she just really hates cold weather. I don't know.
I kind of hope that is the case. Like if all things considered, I would rather it be like, yeah, I wanted to go to a place where I've lived before, nicer weather, and that's kind of it. Like that would mean that maybe things at Mizzou, Board of Curators wise, there was no RIF, and that would be great because that would mean that they're Might not be problems down the road. But when a story like this breaks and there's so much unknown and such odd circumstances, you have to wonder maybe something is coming down the road.
Tim, did your son have fun and yourself watching the Maple Leafs dominate the Blues? That's from the 314. Yes, we loved that afternoon. It was an incredible afternoon. I mean, certainly would have preferred a different result, but as you might imagine, when you just turned 2, you probably aren't necessarily aware of what was going on. But if he does love the game of hockey throughout the rest of his life, he will be able to tell people that he got to see Austin Matthews have himself a day yesterday. So, he's got that.
Yeah. I remember you saying something similar with your older son about seeing the opportunity to see Ohtani and Mike Trout when they came to town.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure he saw
and
that.
Albert.
And so that's why I wanted to make sure I took him to a game where Albert Pujols was playing, and Pujols hit a grand slam in his first at bat. So
incredible.
Always got those things. Yeah, but he loved it. I was really, after people were texted in, and you were right. I'm telling people in the audience, people were right. Got to be aware of that horn. But then when the horn sounded and I looked over, I'm like, oh boy, am I going to have a freak out? And it didn't faze him.
Is it not too loud? Is it not too loud, the horn?
I don't think anything of. I guess if you don't know that it's coming and you're watching an NBA game on your phone, it might catch you off guard. But otherwise, if you're watching the action, you have an understanding. They don't just play it spontaneously.
Right. It's so jarring. It's so jarring.
But if the Nuggets, in the middle of a run, then I can understand why you wouldn't want to hear the horn. You're locked in on that.
Right. Well, they play, music and stuff throughout the game, but it's not so much like it's right in your ear. There was a commercial that played it, and it gave me
But it comes at chosen moments.
No, I know. It comes after a goal.
They don't just fire the thing.
I know. Just maybe
apropos of nothing.
Turn the volume down just a touch. It's just so loud.
Jackson has another suggestion for the game of ice hockey.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe they'll discuss this with Jamie Rivers on the Fast Lane today. Hey, Jackson had a thought on hockey. That's how the segment will start.
I'm not saying it's going to solve its popularity issues. Those are.
Oh wow.
Oh, those are. But that's just the nature of the game.
That was cutting.
It's just the nature of the game. There's a lot of barriers to entry.
If Jamie Rivers is here, that door is going to fling open.
Oh, yeah. Best of luck, Rivers. I'm a lot of man. I'm not scared. I just think they could turn the horn down the touch.
Jackson, do you have a third question on today's?
This is one I'm pretty excited to talk about.
It's interesting to me that you lead with questions that you're not excited about.
Well, there's natural leads.
I see.
The note are obviously going to be a lead, especially right here. And then DRF, big story. That's a lead. Okay. This one is a little bit more abstract.
Okay.
Anthony Rendon has been quoted in The Athletic when talking about baseball.
I'm putting you on the spot here. I know I didn't ask. It's not fair to you. This is my fault, not your fault. Robin Williams, Will Hunting, Matt Damon.
Sean.
Do you have the audio of this?
No. I think
I saw the audio of Mike Trout, and then they compared it to Anthony Rendon.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, I really was a fan of Anthony Rendon's, when he was killing the Cardinals, too.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
But what a debacle. This was really, if I were a big social media person, you know what I'd say about this?
You going to walk and talk?
No, I wouldn't do a walk and talk, but I would say this is not a good look.
Oh, yeah. If there's any situation where something isn't a good look, this is it.
Oh, my God.
I didn't know that there was audio.
You couldn't pick somebody who represents baseball's economic debacle more than Anthony Rendon. And then he says this right after Mike Trout addresses the media, and he's asked, hey, have you asked about, going and getting traded, and asked about a trade request? And he goes, there's something to finishing the job here as opposed to just being put in a situation where you can win a championship. And then a few minutes later, Rendon comes out and he says, go ahead and read.
Yeah, so I didn't even know there was audio out here, but he was quoting The Athletic saying, it's never been, talking about baseball, it's never been a top priority. This is a job. I do this to make a living. My faith and my family come first before my job. While this might be a revelation to some fans, especially in Southern California, it may be a more common mindset than you think. Do you believe that more players than not have a similar mindset when it comes to pro sports?
I'll tell you, you ask these great questions when we're landing the plane.
Yeah. Do you think the turmoil, especially with baseball, of the journey becoming a pro athlete can burn players out, and some of them shift from a love of the game to a way to make a living?
So Anthony Rendon, career to date, has made $178,685,714.
I wonder if you could compare that to many games he's played since 2019.
Well, that's a great question, Jackson, because he was with that Natitude team that beat the Cardinals in the NLCS 5 years ago, and then he went to the Angels, and he played 52 games in 2020, 57 games in 2021, 47 games in 2022, and he was able to get in 43 games last year. So, I mean, you want to talk about, I talk about the Cardinals being tone deaf at times. I mean, this is as tone deaf as it could possibly get. Now, he's saying this to essentially nobody.
Right.
Because, you know, how many people are locked in on the Angels camp this year, especially now that there's no Ohtani. If there's any topic, it's Mike Trout and what's going to happen with him. Other than that, it's just the Angels are also Rans and no longer have Ohtani. But, my God.
Yeah. That's bad. That's not something you want to say given the situation.
But then it also can speak to why his performance may not be there if it's not your priority. So what was you asked a really good question. I want to make sure I answer it.
So it's like you hear something like that, you're like, it can blow your hair back. It's a revelation. But my question is, do you think that there are more players than one would think? And that is obviously subjective. But do you think that there are more players similar to Rendon who play a pro sport, but it might not be their top priority? You know,
I wonder if he would have said that if the Nationals wouldn't have won the World Series in 2019.
It's good. It's a good.
He's got the money and he's got a championship.
Right.
And you don't have to make nearly $200 million to get to that point.
No.
You can just kind of go. And the other thing about him is that was a guy who got in a fight last year, if you recall, with a fan.
Yep.
He's catching a lot of hell.
Yep.
I think a lot of this, and I don't know. I don't think I've ever interviewed Anthony Rendon. My guess is a lot of this comes from a place of frustration with his health. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, when he was healthy, he was,
sick. That 2019 run that the Nationals had, and he was such a big part of it. He was, like, you could make a case he was the best third baseman in baseball. I
mean, he's received MVP votes in 5 of the first 8 years of his career.
Sick.
And so it's just been a debacle, though, for him ever since going to the Angels, and a lot of that is health-related. And I understand, I do. I would imagine there are a number of guys, plenty of whom play for the Cardinals and Blues, who deep down, you get to a point once you have financial independence, and if you have won a World Series or a Stanley Cup, and then you're in your 30s, and you're going, you give me the choice of if I weren't under contract and I could just kind of shut it down, even though I'm 32 years old, and I could spend this time with my family. Yeah, they would prioritize that. I do understand it. I do understand the overall, but part of the job is understanding how you communicate with fans and the repercussions that can come. And you just couldn't pick. Like if Nolan Arenado would say that, and here's a guy with incredible equity, and I don't know if anybody would question his effort.
Right.
I think people would be like, what in the hell?
Right.
And that's Nolan Arenado.
Yeah.
Now you got this guy who, has been getting paid. Let me see what the exact numbers are ever since he arrived in.
I feel like it's 147 or 157.
Well, since he's actually gotten to the Angels, 54, 90, $128 million is what he has received, and he has played a grand total of 190 games.
Yeah, so just over a season in 4 of the seasons. Well, the 2020
and you're saying that, it's just, if he didn't have a guaranteed contract, it's the kind of thing you go, okay, that'll wrap it up. Thanks.
Totally.
You know, and here's the other thing. It's one thing for how it resonates with fans. It's another thing how that plays in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
At the same time, I'm sure there are some guys, albeit maybe not as many on the Angels as other teams, but who are, in a similar spot. But I look at Mike Trout. Maybe it's not fair because I don't know Mike Trout either. Where I'm going there, there's a guy who won't feel fulfilled until he has a championship. Mm-hmm. And Rendon is on the same team, and you hear that. And here's the thing: you've read it. If you hear it, it sounds even worse.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm, you know how I am with like, let's isolate a soundbite and like call out a guy's character and just how boring I find that. But I watched that yesterday. I'm going, oh my God. Again, because this has been going on for years. And then it's like, here, let me make it worse somehow. Let's start off our first full squad workout, my 5th year here, by crapping on the game I play that's allowed me to make $200 million and where my priorities are. Your thoughts, 314-399-9646, Air Comfort Service text line. You're listening to Balloon Party on 101 ESPN.
College basketball is on ESPN tonight. Texas A&M and Arkansas tip off at 6. The NCAA plays on 101 ESPN.
Hey, this is Tim McKernan for the Bath Authority. If your bath or shower is old, outdated, has mold and mildew, or broken tiles, you got to call my friends at the Bath Authority. The Bath Authority provides the highest quality bathroom remodeling experience and products with a world-class customer experience. Their modern, durable tubs and showers are designed with an exclusive high-tech polymer liner. What that means to you is it'll be low maintenance, resistant to mold and mildew, easy to clean, and it'll last for decades. Plus, it comes with a lifetime warranty, walk-in tubs, replacement showers, tub-to-shower conversions, and more. Every unit's custom built. You pick the premium accents and accessories, including safety features like low-profile showers, grab bars, and shower seats. Call today and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. You're their priority at the Bath Authority. Elevate your bathroom to a new level of luxury, style, and safety. Schedule your free in-home estimate today and get $1,000 off a new shower, bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. TheBathAuthority.com. A better bath awaits.
It's a new year, St. Louis, and at First Community, we are excited. We have new branch locations for continued service with no appointments necessary, new digital solutions for an even better banking experience, new partnerships within the communities where you live, and lastly, a celebration of 90 years in business. If there's one thing we've learned in 90 years, it's the little things that matter. And this year, we're going to show you why. Only at First Community.
The best deal of the year is back. This is Ron, the Wizard of Comfort from Swiss Air Heating and Cooling, and yes, the Sweet 16 deal is back. Get a high-efficiency heating and cooling system for your home, receive $1,600 instant rebate, 16 years parts and labor, and 16 months same-as-cash financing. Give us a call at 636-500-2665 at 636-500-COOL or SwissAirSTL.com for the best deal of the year.
Party with Tim McKernan and Action Jackson on 101 ESPN.
Driven by Munganast and Burkhardt, Alton Toyota.
Welcome back. Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you on the program. It's 10:54 in St. Louis. BK and Ferrario coming your way following the program. And Jackson Bennett Burkett is loaded for bear with his Tuesday turbulence. Oh, alliteration.
Yeah, you know what? I teased the idea yesterday of doing a fun one before we did JR because, of course, we had the hard out yesterday. And we didn't get a chance to do it.
Oh, okay. So we're going to do fun?
This one's fun.
What?
And I wanted to ask, so this is not about the NBA All-Star Game.
Uh-oh.
But there was an NBA All-Star Game.
We all know it really was.
There was an NBA All-Star
All-Star
game over the weekend in Indianapolis. My thought immediately went to, what if there was a sports radio All-Star Game and what some of the events could be? And my mind started firing. Like, I'll give you a topic and you have to be the contrarian, and then we give the other guy like the populist take,
absolutely.
And you go against it, and then you're both scored based on it. Who can read a disclaimer the fastest? I think would be really fun.
I feel really good about my chances. Somebody on 101 somebody said you can compete with McKernan for the disclaimer. It might be Rockio.
Rockio reads them real fast.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was on the disclaimer. Maybe it was BT. I don't know. I remember.
Right. And
disclaimer speed. That's a nice one. I like that.
Or like in gymnastics, you get points taken on or off from sticking the landing, and how you tease at the end of a segment would be like if you stuck the landing or not.
The great Martin Kilcoyne at one point. I don't know if this is from the morning grind, so it predates the morning after, and therefore we don't have the audio. I don't think we have the audio. Maybe we do. Said there's three kinds of sports talk radio hosts. Now, this was 2004 to 2006. This was before the Orlovsky, Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith era of, just say whatever and, scream. But it was, I can't remember, there was a guy who, begging for calls guy. Now, this is back when you take phone calls.
I was begging for calls last week on TMA. I was a big begging for calls guy. And blaming the listeners if they didn't.
Begging
like the
for
show.
Calls guy. I believe discovers his opinion while talking guy.
I've been that too.
The Blues... the defensive you're talking about Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
And, you only scored 2 goals and one's late. And then, the game before against the Predators. And that's the Predators. I mean, they had allowed 9 games before, and the Blues only got a couple there, too. The Blues have a scoring problem. Yeah, the Blues have a scoring problem.
Yep.
What's going on? So it's like you're just kind of stating facts, hoping for the opinion to arrive.
You can deduce something.
And then the next thing you know, you've got a take. The audience can watch you rubbing the sticks together before the fire of the heat of the take arrives, and you see the smoke smoldering.
Well, yeah.
And then I think it's just have a take at all costs, and it doesn't matter if it's right. Just scream. I believe those were the three different types of...
Well, my favorite kind of offshoot of the first one, the begging for calls guy, is the guy who begs for calls, and then when the calls come in, chastise them for their asinine opinions and yell at them and do that. I think that could be a little category in this sports radio all-star game. I just think there's so many fun possibilities to do, and it's all so great. It's all so and then there's
sports
little
talk radio Olympics.
Yeah, they're there's just little things that you get for extra points. Like if you can really hold the local media accountable for being soft, you do that.
Yep, you got to do that.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Sound soft. It's an embarrassment. Everybody's a fraud.
Right.
Yeah, it's
volume booking could be a.
Now what's volume booking mean?
Like you get a roster, a list of teams, and you just got to start booking writers. Just booking writers left and right. Booking writers left and right.
I don't think that goes on anymore. I don't know.
I don't think so either.
But I like that. You gonna create the Sports Talk Radio Olympics?
It could be done. It would be so funny.
The Sports Talk Radio Olympics. I like the idea. Let's see what we got. 314-399-9646. Oh, we got 10:59. I guess that's what we got.
Yeah. Time to go.
Guy who can't manage the clock.
Right.
I gotta be the champion.
Oh, yeah. You'd be gold medal.
I gotta be the champion.
You'd be standing up there.
BK and Ferrario are next for Jackson Bennett Burkett, chairman of the Sports Talk Radio Olympics. I'm Tim McKernan. This has been Balloon Party, driven by Munganast, St. Louis Acura, and Munganast, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota on 101 ESPN and the 101 ESPN YouTube channel.